Okay, so let's see if we can actually graph one of these rational functions. Right, there's some key features that we want to make sure that we find, and then we can get a reasonable sketch. First thing is we want to find the zeros of the denominator. That tells me that's related to my domain, and it also gives me my vertical asymptotes. Okay, then I want to determine any horizontal or oblique. Remember, I only have one or the other, and this has to do with the degrees of the numerator and denominator. Then we're going to find the zeros of the numerator because that's my x-intercepts. Those are always important points. Okay, and when it does say here that when my rational function is in lowest terms, if it's not in lowest terms and I can find a zero of the numerator, that might be a hole in my graph. I don't think I have an example of that, but we can find one online. I think I left those out of the homework assignment, so you should be safe. Right? And then another easy thing to find is the y-intercept. That simply means that x is 0, usually pretty straightforward. And then if I want to get a nice shape, I can find a couple extra points in between. Okay, so let's get started. In this first one, we would say, all right, my x is the denominator here, so that would mean x equals 0 is my vertical asymptote. X equals 0 is also known as the y-axis. All right, so we're going to have a vertical asymptote. Then I look at the degrees. So I'm looking here at the degrees of the top and the bottom. That's 3x and an x, so they have the same degree, which means I'm going to have a horizontal asymptote. And my horizontal asymptote is just going to be the line y equals, and in this case, since the degrees are the same, I do coefficient of the top over coefficient of the bottom. In other words, y equals 3. All right, then the next thing I want to do is zeros of the numerator. That'll give me my x-intercepts. All right, so 3x minus 1 equals 0 means x is going to be equal to 1/3. So I'm going to have an x-intercept at 1/3. Then my y-intercept is going to be f of 0, so that's going to be, in this case, -1/0, which is undefined. I don't have a y-intercept. I don't always have one. If I do, I have more. I can have at most one. All right, so let me see if I can get a reasonable sketch here. So here is my xy axis. I'm going to do my asymptotes with dotted lines. Okay, I can't really put a dotted line over the y equals y-axis here. This is x equals 0, and this was y equals 3. Okay, then I know when I have x is 1/3, I have a x-intercept, and that's all I really know so far. So I think I better get a couple other points here. It's easy to find out what happens when I plug in a 1, because that'd be 3 minus 1, or 2 over 1, so it'd be at 1, 2. Right, so it's probably, and we know we get close to the horizontal asymptote, so I'm going to come up this way. I know I have to stay close to the vertical asymptote, so my curve is going to do this on this side. Okay, what about the other side? Well, let's try a -1. If I put a -1 here, that's -3 minus 1, or -4. -4 over -1 is +4. So I'd be here. Again, we're going to go and get close to the vertical asymptote and close to the horizontal asymptote. So that's a very, very rough sketch.